What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Tino's Time Wrestling. And on this episode, we are going to be covering everything that is going to be going down on Saturday afternoon, Saturday morning, Saturday night for all you guys in the UK. Crown Jewel, as you guys can see behind me. We got 8 matches. We got Bray Wyatt. We got an attack apparently going down that might interrupted, but apparently they got there safe. So hopefully everybody did get to Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia safe. Can't lose any of the wrestlers. But guys, there's too much to talk about, and I can't do it alone. So if you guys have seen throughout the last week and everything, I was lucky enough to have this man join me on the stream today. Is from Rated R, the Rated R for Wrestling. He does weekly wrestling reports with Jonesy chats you've seen on SCW's channel. So everybody, let's welcome Anthony to Tino's Time, and he's taking it over. Anthony, how you doing today, my
man? What's up, Tino, man? I appreciate you having me on, man. It's a great honor to be on here. I love collabing with all the other wrestling YouTubers and stuff like that, and it's always great to meet new people, especially in that wrestling sphere. And when it comes to wrestling, other sports is great.
Yeah. So how are you feeling with everything, the build, everything towards Crown Jewel? Do you feel like this is taking away from Survivor Series? How do you feel about everything that we have to talk about before we do get into all the matches and everything?
The builds for these shows, they're not really all that well done because they feel kind of rushed, right? We all know it's a cash grab because that's what the Saudi shows are. It's just to make a ton of money, and that's what we get. They're controversial because a lot of people have issues with them going over there and doing business with them. It is what it is. The money talks in the end. But, for the most part, there's been the builds have been a little lackluster, minus a couple matches here and there. But I think the one that is the worst is Braun Strowman versus Omos because that's one nobody wants to see. But, everything else seems okay, especially the main event. And, the women's match is going to be really good. The last women's standing match. I've enjoyed it, but it's one of those pay-per-views that is just like, it's just there. It's a money grab. It's an in-betweener. And nothing really is going to come out much different coming out of it than going into it because Survivor Series is almost here.
Exactly. And that's the one thing people don't seem to understand, and I've kind of realized and I learned too, is it the president or like what do they call him out there? Like the president of Saudi? Is there like a name for it? Or is it
I'm not sure. I think maybe the prince or something like that. Or,
I don't know, the president or whatever. He sells the tickets. So that shows the stadium's already sold before any matches are announced. And I've noticed throughout these, we see Goldberg. We've seen DX versus Brothers of Destruction. We've seen all these random tag matches and all these matches that it seems like they're trying to relive the Attitude Era because the people in Saudi didn't see it. So they're trying to bring it to them. And it's obviously gotten better. And I think this is probably the best one besides maybe last year that we saw. But I think this one all around is the best card that we've gotten. And that's all thank God to Triple H. Because I think if Vince was still in charge, this show would be like, it's a money grab. So Vince really didn't care. At least Triple H is trying. That's the one thing I feel like, at least, you know what I mean? Because the last woman standing, we get the steel cage. There's some different matches. The one thing I'm going to say, though, is we'll talk about once we get to the match. I don't understand these. Like, I feel like they did what they did on Monday with the women's tag titles just to have Damage Control win it all on Saturday. And stuff like that really doesn't make sense. And we'll talk about that a lot more. But that's just how I feel about it. And, I like having pay-per-views. But then again, I would rather just build the Survivor Series War Games because I think that's going to be great. Like, I can't wait.
Yeah.
And once
hopefully we get something out of this, like to tease that too,
Yeah, and that's the one thing. Once this is over, they can focus on Survivor Series, and I think it's going to get better where they can focus on it because they've been trying. They have this pay-per-view in the middle that what did they do, a 10-year deal?
Something like that. Yeah,
crazy ass deal. Just like money grab, man. I want to make all the money. Vince, send it all over to us. We talk about it. So, let's not waste any more time, though, man, because there is a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
So let's go over everything, and I'm gonna put the match card up for everybody to see. So let's go over it real quick. And these are all the matches that are going to be down. And then we do have Bray Wyatt. And there are a couple more matches that have been announced. But when I saved this picture, this is what was announced. Everybody, I do see you guys in the chat. So leave your questions, comments, and concerns. Welcome Anthony to Tino's Time. But we got a lot of matches. We got the Brawling Brutes taking on the Usos for the Undisputed Tag Team Champions. We got Bayley and Bianca Belair in a last woman standing match We got the matches Anthony said no one wants to really see or care about. We got Omos and Braun Strowman, the Mountain Man, and I don't know what we're watching here. Did you see that camera angle, man? That drove me nuts. They made Omos look like he was like 10 feet taller than Braun. Ridiculous. Steel cage though. McIntyre and Karrion Kross. I know I've heard your opinion on the strap match, and we'll definitely talk a little bit about it. But I really hope this steel cage match is a little bit better than the strap match. I just didn't really enjoy it too much. We got Judgment Day and the OC, Too Sweet, Dominic Mysterio. I want to see him get destroyed by AJ Styles. I just think it's great always to see Dominic get destroyed right now. But Judgment Day and the OC in a 6-man tag. We got Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley in a match. Finally, I think this is the way they've always wanted it to be done.
Yep.
And we have Logan Paul versus Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Can Logan Paul really beat Roman Reigns? I don't think so.
It's a tough ask.
I know. And then we also have a women's tag team match. We have Dakota Kai and Io Sky versus Alexa Bliss and Asuka. And while we have this up, let's start with this match because this match was announced on Friday. Monday. I'm sorry. Monday was it Monday night or Tuesday morning?
I think it was Tuesday morning. Yeah.
Tuesday morning after Alexa and Asuka won the women's championships on Monday Night Raw in the main event. I don't know about you, man, but I was surprised that they won.
Yeah, well, you alluded to it, right? Like the fact that it's the reason they do it is just to get a pop of the crowd in Saudi Arabia. Is like we want to see a title change. Most likely, no other title is going to change on the show because it's one of those shows, and they give you this as like a quick turnaround just to get a pop from the crowd. Most likely, this opens the show. You would assume, right? This opens the show. Nice pop. They win tag team titles. Try to get people excited. That's what it seems like to me. That's why it seems like they would just swap titles like that, and then probably just swap right back at the event.
And that's the one thing I was just so confused because I do the watch alongs and I'm sitting here and I'm like, what are we like, huh? And I was confused. So I was waiting for like a Bayley moment or something to happen. I was all types of confused and they ended it, and I was just like, okay, but yeah, that's exactly what it is. And like I did say earlier, as you mentioned, I think that it's because they want Damage Control to all win the titles on the same night, try to get them as over. Do you feel like Damage Control isn't working out? I've heard from a lot of other people that or other YouTubers I just listened to. Do you think it's just not working? Do you feel like the chemistry isn't there with the three of them?
No, I feel like it had a lot of steam, but the problem was Bayley losing so much to Bianca and then Bianca taking them all three out at once in the ladder match at Extreme Rules. I think that was the main issue there. I think that's what kind of brought them down a peg. I thought they came in hot. They were doing well, and I think just Bayley consistently losing so much to Bianca, I think that's the problem.
Yeah, and that's why I'm surprised she's not the champion already. Like I was waiting for it. I thought she'd win it at Extreme Rules. And are you in agreement with me that you think this is just with Damage Control winning and Alexa and Asuka are just making a trip to Saudi to lose?
Yeah, I mean,
do you think it will be a good match? Like that's the one thing I've noticed with like Raws and stuff. The matches seem to be going longer. So like even if like a team is gonna lose, it seems like it's at least like a decent 11-minute match. And I think that's what could be. Like as you said, it could start it off.
Yeah, no, I agree. Now, I went into this not thinking Bayley had a shot to win because it's one of those shows that, like, not much of importance happens. But since the women are going to be involved, most likely in a War Games match, most likely these women specifically, then it makes sense for Bayley to win a title here to more warrant that War Games match, right? So maybe Bayley wins with a ton of interference and Bianca doesn't have anybody to help her, and that could sow the seeds for the women's War Games match. That could happen. So we could see Damage Control just go over completely in this event to really put them over so that they seem like the team to beat in War Games. Because you got to build the heels up for to be the major foe in that kind of match.
Exactly. And I think that's the one thing people don't understand is like the heels want the heat. Like they want to be hated. Like that's what I think about it like Corbin and stuff. Like Corbin's the most hated man in the world, but that's exactly what he does is like a heel. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that Damage. I think this is the one show that I think maybe like you said, there's not going to be many titles, and maybe they use this as just to try to get over Damage Control as much as possible because we do have War Games. Do you think we could see? We'll talk about it more, but a little bit later when we get to Bianca and Bayley. Do you think that we could see somebody come out and return? Do you think like something like that could possibly happen? Did like add a member to War Games, where like if it starts out the show, Damage Control wins, they take the titles. Alexa and Asuka are nowhere to be seen the rest of the night.
Yeah.
Co-main event or whenever they do this match, somebody comes out and helps Bianca, because obviously if Dakota and Io win, I think they're going to go out and help Bayley, with it being the last woman standing.
Yeah, I agree, but like, so I'm thinking of the logistics of War Games, right? Normally it's a 4v4, right, or a 5v5.
Yeah.
So I think they're gonna go the 4v4 route. So with the OC, right, having a Rhea problem, so they're gonna bring somebody in to help them out with Rhea. Does that happen in this show? Maybe, and that sows the seeds. So that means that Rhea may just, by de facto, because she's a heel, join Damage Control for that night and take on Bianca, Alexa, and Asuka with whoever the OC bring in. Let's say there's Beth Phoenix, something like that. Maybe that's how you get Beth Phoenix and Rhea Ripley against each other inside War Games, right? Maybe that could happen, because again, a 3v3 War Games, I don't really like it. When you have 3 separate teams like NXT's done it, then it works better. But if you do a 4v4 for the women and you plop in a heel and a baby face for either side to even it out, I think maybe we'll get something like that. So maybe, the OC's match happens prior in the night, and then that's how they reveal who's going to help them, and that's how they just put everything together.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things too. I didn't even think about that. You make a good point with that, because then that would just make complete sense. So that's the one thing. So since we are both, so who are you taking to win the win?
I'm taking Damage Control in this one.
Okay,
it's cheap, but I'm taking Damage Control. Yeah, it's cheap. It's cheap. It's cheap. It's really cheap. It really is cheap when they do this kind of stuff. But you understand why they do it, right? It's they want to get the crowd to be excited and see a title change, stuff like that. And
I mean, they have to, and that's the one thing. Like with those people out there, like I mentioned, with like the Attitude Era stuff, they don't see that stuff that often. So when they see a title change, it's like, oh my God, somebody lost the title. Where it's just us, we're just like, oh, we saw that last week.
Well, then you bring up the Attitude Era stuff, right? So this is interesting, because this is his first Triple H, his first Saudi Arabia show.
Yeah.
So he's not like going heavy on nostalgic talent here, other than really Brock Lesnar.
And that thank goodness, finally.
Yeah.
Because that's the one thing that it has been, and this, like you just said, it's the first time that it hasn't been besides Brock. But I think the Brock and Bobby Lash is a match that we've wanted to see, and it just didn't go exactly how I think both of them didn't want it the way it went last time.
No, yeah. So I think it's got to be like more pro. What I'm hoping, I talked with Steve about this in the Rasslin report this week, was it be this match and then a rubber match at WrestleMania between the two. I mean, it seems like that's the route to go with it, I think.
I'm down for it, and it's so nice to see Brock not go after a title. This, you could do like I've been saying it on my show too. Can't we just see rivalries between 2 women and 2 men that just hate each other like back in the day? So I'm taking Damage Control 2 to win the tag titles. And speaking of that, since you were talking about the OC and stuff, let's talk about that match next, and let's talk about the 6-man tag. It is Judgment Day. We got Damian Priest, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio. Yes, Dominic taking it over. And then we got Too Sweet, AJ Styles, Carl Anderson, and Luke Gallows, man. And let me tell you, when those 2 came back to WWE, I was like in shock. Like those, I don't know. I just never expected them to come back, especially when Carl Anderson did what he did and everything. It's crazy to see Triple H keep bringing people back, but it's just like, I feel like he's like doing it not to like, he's doing it to people like to put them in a place to succeed. He's not putting them in a place to fail. And obviously not everybody is going to work. And that's why I feel like maybe like, even like the releases this week, I was thinking about it too. Like if this was Vince releasing stuff, like I would be so much worried. And I think the worst person that was released that we really knew of was the dude from Chase U.
Yeah.
So, but the 6-man tag team match, you talked about it and you said, so who do you think it would be? Do you think it would be like Beth Phoenix to come?
It's the simplest solution, right? Because you usually have that open-ended stuff with Edge, right? With the Extreme Rules match, the I Quit match between Finn Balor and Edge, right? How that worked out. It's the easiest. It's like the easiest means to an end there, and then that opens the door for the eventual return of Edge to get his revenge on what happened. Maybe for Survivor Series, against. Maybe he's in the War Games match for the men up against Judgment Day. Maybe it's the OC and Edge versus Judgment Day or something like that. It could be. Or if they're not in the War Games match, then they're having their own match, in their own right. I think Beth Phoenix is probably the most logical person. There's really nobody I could think of out of left field either that would be like a surprise. That would actually make any sense, because not only does she have to match up physically with Rhea, which is one thing. That's a whole. You already like put yourself in a certain category. We have to have somebody that matches up physically against Rhea, but then somebody has a name value as well. And I think Beth checks all those boxes in terms of somebody they just bring in to take her on.
Yeah, I mean, and who knows what she's whispering to Dominic, man? I'd be kind of scared. Like shit, like that would be like. What about like a Chelsea Green or something like that? Like I've heard rumors of her possibly coming back and stuff like that. I don't think I also heard maybe Tegan Nox, but I don't think Tegan Nox could put up with Beth Phoenix. Like I think she could fight her, but I just don't like you said, like somebody that's like a Beth Phoenix, where it's like she's gonna go in there and it's just gonna be like But Tegan Nox has also been in a War Games.
Yes, that's true.
Right? Has she? Right?
Yeah, she has been. Yeah, she no, actually, yeah.
Did she get taken out of that one? Because I think I went to that was.
Yeah, she got taken out of that one by
that's
Dakota.
Right.
When Dakota turned on her. Yeah,
that's right. Okay, because I that was the one I went to and I went. Yeah, never mind. But yeah, I mean, still, I think something like that maybe. But that's the one thing. Like, I don't know. I don't know, man. It's one of those things where I'm just like trying to figure it out because there's like so many things where it's just like you don't know. Like I honestly didn't think Emma would be coming back.
No,
I didn't feel about Emma coming back. Do you think that? What do you think she's gonna do?
I think she's gonna be like
off topic for a second.
Yeah,
but like,
I think she's like another Natalia, like just a what they call a good hand. Like she's gonna be there, have solid matches, help other talent. I don't think she's gonna be much of a person who's like heavily involved in storylines. I think she's gonna be just like another version of Natalia, who's just a well-rounded wrestler and everything like that. But she just doesn't have that connection where she's in big time storylines all the time and constantly at the top of the card when it comes to women's division. Yeah. They put her in there when they need her, kind of thing.
Yeah. So this 6-man tag. Sorry, I got a little off track. So this 6-man tag. Who do you see coming out, and do you see it going like 20? Do you see it being like how do you see this match playing out?
This is a tough one because I don't like when they do these kind of matches where it's a team that's on the upswing in Judgment Day, and then a team of the OC that's having like their first real legitimate match as a team together since the comeback of Gallows and Anderson. So it's kind of like who wins and who loses, right? Who benefits the most and who gets hurt the most out of this. Judgment Day's been really, really good, especially after the Dominic turn and what they did at Extreme Rules. And Dominic comparing himself to Eddie Guerrero and saying that Eddie Guerrero was the Dominic Mysterio of his time is great stuff. It's ridiculous when you hear it.
We have to do the DNA test, man. They look identical. Have you watched the 96, 97 Halloween Havoc?
Yes. They look very, especially with the hairdo similar. It's they look very, very similar. But it's one of those matches I'm like, I don't know who should win, who should lose, to be honest with you. I think the OC, I think this might be a schmozzy finish where you don't really get like a DQ.
I was gonna say, I was just
no contest or something like that.
Do you think we get WWE's all-time favorite? No DQ, no contest, 10 count, 10. Yeah, that's exactly what it's probably gonna be. It's probably gonna be a 10 count. They're all gonna be fighting, and then they're gonna do like a 6-man like no DQ at a War Games or something like that.
Yeah, and they're with a crowd that's really not gonna crap on everything they do like we would, right? In the States, over there they wouldn't crap on a phony finish like that. They would just take it as it is, right? Us, we probably see it and we crap all over it.
And that's the one thing too. It's like that's like like it's all about like the name value with them. Like that's why I feel like with like I feel like the match they're most looking forward to is Roman and Logan and Brock and Bobby, because they know like Brock, and then they know like I'm sure they kind of know Logan, and it's like I just feel like some of these matches they're gonna get excited for because of like the steel cage or something like that, but there's gonna be like you're not gonna be able to tell as you would like if we were here in Chicago. Like the crowd here in Chicago tells you. Like when I go to these shows, they don't care. They'll say F you, they'll say CM Punk, they don't care. I always wait. I went to Hell in a Cell this past year. I was waiting for somebody to throw somebody out for screaming the stuff that they were saying. So,
yeah, I know what you mean.
It's just nuts. So in the end, who do you see taking this, or do you see? Are you bold prediction? Do you see this ending in a count out? I mean, I see
it ending in like a no finish, like a no contest type of thing. I can't really choose who would it be. If I had to choose, gun in my head, what team is gonna win if there's an actual finish, then it's Judgment Day because Rhea's causing some type of havoc, and that's why she gets the win.
I'm gonna take the OC. I'll go the opposite way.
Okay.
This with this one. I just think that the OC wins because, like you said, I think that they just came back. They need a win and stuff like that. And yes, it does kind of hurt Judgment Day. But I think that, we kind of see where Judgment Day is kind of heading and everything. And like who is, like, my question is then, like, who does OC feud with after this? That's like what other could we see them go to SmackDown and fight with Legado? Do we see them? Because there are a lot of factions now that we either they try to build up a team like Hit Row. I mean, please don't bring in Maximum Male Models back. Please don't bring. I mean, unless they want to add Tyler Breeze to the thing, but I think Tyler Breeze is good doing up, down, down battle of the brands. So, but yeah, I'm gonna take the OC to win just because I think that I think that they just need the win. So yeah, but we'll see how it goes. But I could totally see the no count out too, and I could see it because that's the one thing I feel. Don't they have like a time limit or something like in this stadium or something? It's like a 3-hour show or something.
Yeah, not? I don't think they go over time there. I think they finish like right on time. Yeah,
because I remember the first year they did it. My friend was telling me because he watched. He's like, the people are like walking away to go do their ceremony or something, and they were coming back.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, okay.
It could be because they have certain time limits on stuff for like religious reasons and all that stuff like that. Yeah.
So, but. So while we do that, let's get another match out of the way real quick that we will talk about. Like you said, there's not much to really say about it, but Omos versus Braun Strowman, man, I can't deal with this match. Like it's just two big guys going into a fight, and then all the people are going to be like, "Oh my god, two big guys."
That's exactly what it is. I mean, it's a Vince McMahon. This is Vince McMahon had like written all over, right? It feels like he's sitting at home, whether it be in Connecticut or his house in Florida.
Man, I just want them to put a webcam on him and put like a live stream on Peacock.
Yeah,
and just put it. I just want to see what happens, like when somebody comes out, or like when Dexter debuted, or when Emma came back and it wasn't Emelina. Or so I just want to see it. It would be such great television.
Just to see his reaction, right? Because it feels like I don't know if he's like upset if he's still paying attention to it, still watching it right on TV. If he's upset, if he's in the ear of Stephanie, if he's in the ear of Triple H saying stuff to him. But this is just it has his handprints all over it, right? This feels like just the match that he's always wanted to do. Omos, Braun Strowman, he loves this. Huge guys going against huge guy. This is like his bread and butter thing. And it's a match nobody wants to see, but Strowman has to win. He has to.
Yeah.
Yes, he has done nothing of importance since coming back. He's been booked exactly the way he was booked before he got released.
Yeah.
Same thing, right? Comes out, does the train thing, runs somebody over, and does a feat of strength, and that's it. So they never found a way to get kind of sympathy on him for you to feel like you're pulling for him to win, because he's never really had to face that kind of adversity because he's so massive. Now he's got somebody bigger than him, but it's somebody that nobody likes in Omos that's bigger than him. So it's one of those things. Yeah.
And that's the thing. I just nobody like, and I think the biggest thing with Omos too is I just think the way he was like he shouldn't have never won the tag titles with AJ. Like he shouldn't have never done any of that. I feel and I think that's why people are so like down on him now, where it's like he's lost so much steam, and like so much like he's went down on the card so much like in people's eyes. But in Vince's eyes, obviously he's going higher on the card. It's just because of like that, where it just like he went so high and they tried to build him as like this big guy as soon as Strowman got released. And we all knew what he was doing. He was trying to replace Braun.
Yeah.
So now it's Braun, Triple H's guy, versus Omos, Vince's guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, what, like, and that's where like I think Strowman needs to win too, because it's like, I think Omos, like, I don't know if you listen to other people, like do you listen to Out of Character and stuff like that, like those types of podcasts, like on the WWE?
No, I haven't heard most of them, man. No.
So, but because I do Uber Eats and stuff like that, and I listen to a lot of them when I'm driving because it just makes time go by faster. And he was on it, and he like said his story and everything, and it made me understand like why Omos was whatever. But it was just like he still needs to be able to go down and like just like, because I think Omos could be like a big star one day, but I just don't think it's now. And that's
it's definitely not now. No.
And I think Strowman needs to win this. I don't know. I think this should be like a 3-minute match. Make it like a Goldberg Brock Lesnar match. I mean,
Omos needed more seasoning. I think Vince just saw his size and was like, I got to bring him in. I have to put him here. I put him at AJ, so that's a guy who could actually wrestle in the ring, type of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the thing where it was like, wasn't he in Raw Underground too? Do you remember when they did that for like a minute? He was like wasn't he like the bodyguard or something like that?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. I think he was the guy at the door. Started. Yeah.
And that's the thing where it's like they thought putting him with AJ would be good, but it was like all we got were memes out of it.
I mean, funny they bring it up. Raw Underground, low key, it was something. I thought it was entertaining. It was something different, right? It was something different. I thought it was just actually pretty cool. If you go back and watch it now and just see how like it wasn't bad.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where like if it was done right, I think it would have worked. It was like I feel like they did it, and just because it did it, like the problem with like they just want the satisfaction so quick, and it's just like you need to like build the thing, and it's just like, oh my god, like the Bray Wyatt thing, and we'll get into the Bray Wyatt. We'll talk about him in a couple minutes. Maybe we'll talk about him next, but I just think that like it just like the story and the building and like putting us all through down the rabbit hole made us want to figure it out. I mean, how many of us did podcast on it that talked about this man for White Rabbit for months? That's exactly like it makes it entertaining. It makes everybody want to watch it. But I don't really care about this match. But I'll take Strowman to win.
And he has to be the guy to win, right? He has to. Like, why would you have Omos win here?
Yeah, I mean, unless Vince took over and took the jet over and was like, I'm taking over. Y'all listen to me. I rewrite the script. Please, no, please. Let's take a break from the matches and let's talk about Bray Wyatt, man, because all the stuff Bray Wyatt has been doing is crazy since he returned. And I don't know about you, but I think the way that they presented him in Extreme Rules and everything with the door and was great. Just the whole production of it was perfect. The reveal was awesome. And I don't know what you think. Do you think this is personalities? Do you think this is other people? Who do you think Uncle Howdy is? Do you think it's Bo?
So the rumor was that it was Bo because of the earring thing, right? Same earring as Bo, but the voice sounds very similar to Bray in his cadence and the way he his words come out and the vocabulary he uses. But the guy's his brother too, so it's a chance they sound alike, they talk alike, so it's a possibility he's able to mimic that. And it just I don't think it's gonna be as elaborate as there's a bunch of other people dressed up as different variations of Bray in the Firefly Funhouse, all that stuff like that. I think it's just gonna be now, shout out to Brave. He's able to pull it off, multiple personalities, because it's like the movie Split, right? If he's able to go in and out of characters like that, I mean, bravo to him. And that might be some of the best TV we see.
I mean, it might be. I mean, that I've had to rewatch that movie a few times to understand which character was which, because I was confused. I'm like, we went to go see it in the theaters. I had to wait till it came out on DVD, and I'm like, wait, I'm like, oh damn, I'm like I didn't know that. I'm like, shit, and that's like, it's just great, and it's so like the mask scares the hell out of me too. I don't know about that, kind of like freaked me out. It's like I don't know.
The one we saw on SmackDown.
Yeah, the Uncle Howdy mask. Whoever made that was great, because that just like that's the stuff too we don't see, like the terrifying. And I've said stories on some of my podcasts where I've had like nightmares of Kane, and I've had people dress up as Undertaker and stuff like that and scare the hell out of me. And it's just one of those things where I haven't had those types of feelings just because like some of these masks throughout the years have been really bad. I feel like the last one that was really good was like when they did like Luke Harper and stuff like that with his, what was it, the goat mask or whatever the hell it was?
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So one of those. But I just feel like they just don't like, you know what I mean? I mean, I don't know what the hell that Karrion Kross one was. God forbid.
No, that was ridiculous.
That was awful. So what do you think this man's going to do on Saturday? Do you think he's going to come out promo? We're going to hear from Uncle Howdy.
I think he has to come out at the end. I mean, but then if he does, then you're immediately putting him with Roman at that point, right? So it's a weird spot where you're gonna put him, because if you put him at the end, it immediately has to be connected with Roman, and you don't want that to happen. I don't think anybody wants him to be up against Roman already. No. So I don't know. I think if you got to get Roman out of the ring, clear everything out, and then you do it, kind of thing. So it's like something completely separate. You don't want to do it while Roman's in the ring. I think he has to do it when the show's pretty much over at that point, right?
Well, yeah. And like you said, like, I mean, we could be like they, and that's the one thing I've noticed with Triple H is that he has, like, everything has the right time. It's not going over. It's not going too little. And it just, like, it flows well. Yeah. That's the one, especially like Raw, man. Like the 3-hour shows, I'm watching it, halftime of football, it's 8:30. I'm like, damn, okay, we're almost done already. Before it was like, I'm falling asleep. I'm like, guys, you ready? Like, it's 9:30. Like, let's go. So, and that's the one thing. I mean, and that's like, because that's the one thing, like, especially like when they did it at Extreme Rules and they put the little thing, I was like, where's Bray Wyatt? Yeah, and then all the lights went. I think that would be great. And that would just be the perfect way to do it. I don't know what he's going to say. I think we'll end the show again with Uncle Howdy, because this is on a Saturday. They're going to want something to lead again to SmackDown, because I don't know, because the show is taped too from like SmackDown tomorrow. So that's the one thing people do got to remember, is that the show is taped. So everything that already happened. So I don't know if he's going to be on the show tomorrow. So that's the other thing. Then you got to, then we want to wait and see what's going to happen next Friday. Yeah. I love that. I love being excited. Like, I haven't been excited to watch a Raw and SmackDown since I was like 15 years old, coming home from school being like, Monday Night Raw, Monday Night Football, let's go. Yeah. So I can't wait. Who do you think is going to be the first person he really like feuds with? Do you think it's like a Roman, or do you think like they do? I don't think so. It should be, but who do you think it should be right away.
Yeah, I don't think it should be Roman, right? Because you don't want to go down that road, because then you go down the same road he went with the Fiend. He came in, you put the belt on him, and then it's like, how do you beat him? And then everything falls off a cliff at that point. So I think he's got to go. It's tough. Do you go back to Braun because they have the history? Can you play off of that again? We saw that. I don't know if they go down that road. It may be against a guy like maybe Drew McIntyre. Maybe it's Seth Rollins. But it could be anybody other than Roman Reigns at this point, right? Anybody other than Roman Reigns. I just think they got to keep him away from the title picture completely. I don't think he's a guy who needs a title. He won it and they've botched those. So I don't think he needs the title. I think he has to stay away from that as far as possible. He's got to have anybody else, because anybody else that faces him is already a main event anyways, because he's in it, right? So you got him versus Rollins, him versus AJ, him versus Lashley, him versus McIntyre, him versus Riddle. There's so many people you can put up against them, and it's a main event anyways.
Yeah, and that's the one thing too. It's nice to finally be able to see these guys come up and not have anything change. Like with Solo Sikoa, I feel like it's the first one and the first like of the new crop where nothing's gonna change. Mm-hmm. And it's like seeing these, like there's so many people that that are gonna like that can, and there's so much more talent where it's just like I said earlier, everybody's being used, and all those people you just named would be great. And I think they do need to keep them away from the title picture, because it's just going to be one of those things where it just, and it's like they could, I don't want them to ruin it, because it's just one of those things that they can't go down the same thing, and don't repeat yourself. Let's like do this over. This is not like, so I don't know like exactly, but I would like out of the names all you said, because some of them were ones I would love to see, like him versus Riddle, because I think something like that where like it would be like it would be like, because Riddle, you know how Riddle is, he's gonna come out and do this and that, and then all of a sudden like Bray Wyatt starts messing with him. It's like, why does Bray want to go after Riddle out of all people? But I think that would be interesting to where the point where it would just, But then again, will people get involved and interested?
But the thing is too, is like, is Bray gonna be a good guy or a bad guy?
Exactly.
Right. So like, what line is he there?
Because he's playing all these different characters. He's coming out. He's talking as Wyndham. He's got whatever. Is he gonna be the Fiend? Is it gonna be like? That's the thing. We really have no idea.
Yeah, exactly. So that's gonna dictate a lot, right? Once you see like where he's headed, if it's either a good guy or a bad guy.
I don't know. It should be interesting though, man. I'm happy that they at least promoted it a little bit, because I feel like then maybe like it gives people like a little more aspects to watch. And that's the thing I think they're doing. They're trying to get as many big names because they want people to watch the show. Yeah. Like I've noticed throughout the years, like there's people just aren't interested. And there's even people that watch Raw or SmackDown and they don't want to watch the pay-per-view because it's on at noon. They're busy. They're working. You know what I mean? And it's like they're trying so hard. And I'm sure there's some people like, I'm staying home. I'm watching Bray Wyatt.
Yeah. So. Well, the good thing is that this is on a Saturday. Sometimes they've done them when they're in the middle of the week. I remember Greatest Royal Rumble was like during the middle of the week. It was like it might have been a Friday. And who's gonna see it at noon on a Friday when everybody's like pretty much works at that time?
It was Friday at 11, because I remember because before I was doing my podcast and everything. Quick story about that. I wanted to have my friends over and everything, and I was gonna have them over. You're gonna get like food and everything. And my friends called me at like 10 o'clock. They're like, "Why the fuck are you gonna have me come over and watch wrestling on a Friday at 11 o'clock?"
Yeah.
I'm like, my bad. I didn't know who was. I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. I'm like, damn, and that's when I kind of finally realized, like, because I thought it started later at the time, like when it first started.
Yeah.
And then they were like, "No, Trent, it starts at like 11." And this is like I said before, my podcast and everything. So I would wake up and do whatever, and because I would watch SmackDown after, like I just never watched it live or anything. But yeah, it was just like I just didn't understand. And that is the one thing where like we talk about like our UK family, they're able to watch it. It's a 7 o'clock for them, 8 o'clock for them, so they're able to stay up. So it should be really interesting, man. I don't know.
It definitely will be.
I don't know. So thank God it's on a Saturday. Yeah, how do you feel about the Saturday pay-per-views?
I like it better. Them? I like it better, man, because you don't feel like that angst where like this thing's over. I gotta go to bed. I gotta go to work tomorrow, or school. Or if you go to school, whatever the case may be.
So what was this things. When I was in school, man? I could have had SummerSlam parties, WrestleMania parties.
Yeah, man, it's a bit of a down, because like you look at it, it's like I understand why they did it, right? Because it's everybody's usually home at that time nobody's usually home on a Saturday night compared to a Sunday night, right? So families are home, they get to watch it, order pay-per-view. But now in the era where pay-per-views are like non-existent for wrestling, it's all premium live events or whatever. Saturdays make more sense because they line up more with like a UFC pay-per-view, a boxing pay-per-view. The big time pay-per-views are always on a Saturday because people go out, they go to bars and watch them. Wrestling is a little bit different, but without having to worry so much about pay-per-view buys nowadays for WWE, they could put it any day they want. It wouldn't really matter.
Yeah. So, I mean, we could talk about the times and dates all day long,
yeah,
but let's get back to the matches, man, because there's still 5 more matches we got to talk about. So, the next one, let's talk about the steel cage match between Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross. And I'm happy that Karrion Kross is back and everything that he's doing. And yes, I know the Extreme Rules match wasn't everybody's favorite, but I also feel like this is a thing with people like that, like haven't watched everything with NXT. There's a lot of people that don't know who Karrion Kross is. So, like, I love Karrion Kross because I've been watching him since he was in Black and Gold, since he was NXT champion, all this stuff. So it's like seeing him like this. And I've even talked to some of my friends where they're like Karrion Kross and they love Drew McIntyre. And I would talk to them like, do you remember when he came out on Raw in that mask? And they're like, who? And they don't even remember that was him. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's just seeing him and at least being used and seeing him in this type of match. And I think the steel cage aspect is so much better than a strap match. Maybe they should have done a steel cage at Extreme Rules.
Yes.
Instead of the strap match. You know, but I'm happy we're at least getting it. And I think this will definitely be a good match. I don't know where it will be in the card. This is like I feel like there are some like there could like I feel like they could start off with this match because it's a steel cage. Maybe they try to get people excited where they bring the cage down as the thing starts. I don't know, but just something to think about. But with this match, who do you see winning? Who do you see coming out on top? Do you like this rivalry? Do you like Karrion Kross the way he's been used?
Okay, I'm a big Karrion Kross guy. I like him a lot. Like I know he's not the compared to other wrestlers, not the most greatest wrestler in the world, but he's believable, right? So in the end, you just want him to be believable. That's what I enjoy about him. I like this presentation in NXT. Obviously, the stuff on the main roster didn't work out, but that's a good thing that some people don't remember it, right? That's a good thing. You don't want people to remember the bad like that. Yeah. Now, again, this wasn't the best feud because it felt like it was second fiddle because you had McIntyre going for Reigns at that time at Clash of the Castle and him kind of thwarting them a little bit, Karrion Kross. So it seemed like you were going to get a real hot shot for Karrion Kross and immediately put him against Reigns or go from McIntyre directly to Reigns quickly, which we're not really getting. So I think the feud itself is kind of like fallen off a little bit and kind of flattened out because of that. So I didn't like that they did the strap match because to me a strap match and a steel cage have to be like feud enders, right? That stipulation has to be like a feud that's been going on for a while. There's a lot of animosity between the two guys, and you put this type of stipulation on it in order for that match to make sense, right? To warrant the stipulation of a strap match or a steel cage match. Now going from one to another, I think kind of dilutes the two stipulations, right? Going from a strap then straight to the steel cage dilutes it and doesn't have the importance that the type of match should. In the end, Karrion Kross won the first one. I think McIntyre wins the second one because Scarlett can't get involved, supposedly, right? She probably will anyways. And I think McIntyre gets a win here just for them to run it back at Survivor Series in the rubber match.
Do you with Survivor Series, do you think that we're going to see like 5-on-5 matches? Do you think we're just going to see, because he did say it was going to be story based?
Yeah.
Do you think that we see more of just like regular matches than just traditional 5-on-5s? Because War Games, if people haven't seen War Games takes up a lot of time because you know
each one's like an hour and change.
Yeah, and I mean, I love the War Games.
And that's two of them, right? So you have two hours and change. So I think NXT used to have like 2 to 3 other matches in between the 2 War Games matches. Yeah. Women's always started it off, and then the men's would finish it. So you figure the same way it's probably going to go down. He's not going to have time to put probably Survivor Series traditional style elimination matches unless he does like 1 or 2, and then he just the rest of the show is just the War Games matches.
Well, yeah, I just wanted your opinion because it was just one of those things I was thinking about. I'm like, I wonder how it's going to be played, and that's the one thing I hope there's only like 5 matches. There should only be like 5 matches on the
now. I do hope that they do some of the Raw versus SmackDown stuff because I enjoyed that, right? Like I like that dynamic of champion versus champion. I thought it worked well, especially the promos leading up. Remember Drew and Reigns promos leading up to their Survivor Series match were awesome. You know, everything they did. I think that's cool. I think they should go along with that. If it's not, keep the War Games matches away from that, but the other matches keep them brand versus brand.
And that's the one thing people love, like especially there's people that just love Raw, there's people that just love SmackDown, and it's just like brand supremacy. It's all about, and I mean, we're all gonna remember the stage of Becky Lynch and with her bloody face and the SmackDown shirt and everything. And I mentioned it earlier, and I don't want to get too much into it, but I did go to the whole weekend of Survivor Series 2019 with NXT and everything. And it was just one of those things where we're just seeing all of it. Like they should, it would just be great to see. I think they should have always done it that way and everything, but it should be interesting to see. But I can't wait to see exactly everything that goes down because there are still so many things that we don't know. We don't know how many people, if it's going to be 4-on-4, 5-on-5 and everything like that. So, but Survivor Series, when is that? Is that November, 20?
I think it's the end of I think it's right before Thanksgiving. So maybe that Sunday before or the Sunday after. Something like that. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm going to take, did you say who you had winning this?
Yeah,
match?
I'm taking McIntyre in this one.
Okay. So, my bad. Yeah, see, I'm gonna go with you too. I'm gonna take McIntyre to win just because like you said, the rubber match. They love to do rubber matches. It's gonna be best out of 3. And like you said, like if we see it at Survivor Series, I'm down. Do you think it should just be a regular match at Survivor Series? Since they've already had 2 stipulations, that's like, are we just rivalry of stipulations? Is it going to turn into?
That's what it feels like at this point, right? Because if you did a strap match, steel cage, where do you go from there for the third match, for the trio, for the rubber match? It's like, do you just be like, oh, we're just going to do a regular match to kind of get a fair and square winner? I guess, maybe.
I mean, they could we could bring back Buried Alive, send somebody ass.
Yeah, exactly, something like that. And then Kross being kind of supernatural, so maybe, right?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, they all thought he was part of the Wyndham 6. I mean, we still don't know what any of that. I mean, shit, there's still a lot to figure out. But let's talk about the next match. And the next match is Bianca Belair, the EST of WWE, versus the leader of Damage Control, Bayley. And I don't know if you noticed this or if you remember this. Did you know that this was supposed to be the match that Bayley and Bianca were supposed to have before Bayley got hurt?
Okay, so this is what they're supposed to have? Okay.
The last woman standing match. I think it was Money in the Bank. I think that was bad. I saw it on one of those things where people make the best matches of the year, best matches that didn't happen or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was like a graphic of that. But how do you feel with the stipulation? We talked a little bit about earlier with the tag teams. Do you think this is just? Do you think this match is gonna go? Do you think this match will go over 20 minutes?
Yeah, it's probably been one of the longer matches there right now. Last Woman Standing, they're probably going to try to go as far as they can with it because you come off a ladder match where she took out the 3 members of Damage Control by herself, Bianca Belair. I think that's where she started pushing that to the brink of John Cena status, right? When it comes to the female division, is taking Cruz the heels out by herself. I didn't think that was the right move. I think she should have been the one to lose that match, and Bayley should be champion at this point. But this could be just a means to an end, just to have this match here, because it means so much to have a women's match, a title on the line, and it'd be a stipulation in Saudi Arabia because of the way things are over there. So
yeah. So how are is because I swear where was the was it different where okay, because Saudi and never mind. Wrong thing. I was thinking of Clash at the Castle and Crown Jewel. 2 different.
Oh, okay.
Never mind. I was thinking about it in my head for a second. I'm like, wait, it wasn't Clash? Never mind. All right. So anyway, go ahead. What were you saying?
Yeah. So I'm saying, it's a big deal for them to do this kind of match over there, right? Because the women, it's not really the same as it is over here. So, they have that going on over there. Then it's a big time deal for them to get this match out there. So it could just be this is where they give Bayley the strap, and then it leads to War Games. That's the only logical explanation for this, for him to have the trio of matches after Bayley lost twice already. She hasn't won the title yet. She hasn't won the title off of her, and Bianca's already taken out the entire crew to win a ladder match. So what warrants this match right here? It has to be to Bayley finally get the upper hand, and then it funnel into War Games. It has to be. So I'm picking Bayley for this one.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you. And that's the one thing, too, if Bianca wins, where does she go? Who does she face? Who's gonna beat her? Who's gonna and that I feel like Bayley wins. I feel like I know everybody has seen it, Bayley and Sasha and all of them are BFFs, up, down, down. All of them are all hanging out together. Black Panther, the movie premiere and everything. I feel like it's on the horizon. I feel like at some point Sasha Banks is coming back. I feel like they're where's Charlotte? We haven't seen Charlotte. Where the hell is she at? Andrade's been on AEW, or he was before all that. AEW's a mess. We could do a whole Rasslin report about that.
That one big time, yeah.
I mean, I'm going to go with you, and we talked a little bit about this match. So I don't want to waste too much. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but yeah, I'm going to take Bayley and win. I feel like it's the only option because and I feel like the big thing will be is if Damage Control wins the tag titles, Bayley's going to win. And
yeah, I think that's like the precursor to it. Yeah, if they win it, then you know that's gonna happen. Yeah,
and that's the one thing. Like if you've watched wrestling for a long time and you've watched it weekly and monthly and yearly, you notice like the tendencies and especially the pay-per-view tendencies. Like, don't you just feel like if like one thing happens, or like I've noticed throughout the years, like one championship changes, all of them do. One changes, all of them don't. All of them don't change. Like there's just like different patterns I've realized.
Yeah. Well, the biggest trend in pro wrestling is that opposite momentum, right? So whoever is on top, the event before the pay-per-view is the person that loses, right? Yep. For some reason, that's the way wrestling always is. It's always been that way. Opposite momentum. Whoever's beating the other person up, that event, that SmackDown or that Raw before the pay-per-view is the loser of the match of the pay-per-view.
I remember a Saturday Night main event back in 2005 or 6 with John Cena and the Great Khali, and John Cena got destroyed by the Great Khali, and he literally, and it was right before their last man standing match. I forgot what pay-per-view it was. It was so long ago. But then John Cena ended up FUing him off of the car, and he fell through the stage, and John Cena won. And it was just like, I always remember that because I'm like, damn, Cena got his ass beat. And then it was like, as I noticed it, and it's crazy. Like
that's a rule of wrestling right there.
You got to figure out the algorithm with this.
Yeah, exactly.
So, well, yeah, I'm gonna take Damage Control walking out with all the titles, and then hopefully we build the War Games on Monday. But now let's talk about one of the big matches that is gonna go down on Saturday night, and it's between two men that I don't know about you, but I want to re-see this match because I don't feel like the last one was the greatest. And Brock Lesnar is Crown Jewel's main eventer. It is Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. And I love the way they've built it, the way they've done it a lot. I loved what they did on Monday. And I want to mention it before I forget. What they did on Monday was great. And having Triple H come out and him taking off the headset, because we all know that he's running creative. Yep. We all know he's sitting back there. So him just taking off the headset and getting in the middle of it and being like, you throw one more punch, I feel like brought a lot to it than it would have, you know what I mean? Where it just like it, because, you know, Vince wouldn't have done that. And I just feel like that was something to bring to the storyline because, you know, obviously they're not going to call off the match, but I just thought it was great. And I can't wait to see this match. Do you think this is a match that will go long? Do you think this match is short?
This got to be a short, because like I like the way they've done it, right? They've booked it where they don't really speak to each other. It's just whenever they're there, they're beating the hell out of each other, right? So I think that because that's the way it makes the most sense. Like that's when Lesnar and Goldberg made most sense, is where they don't say nothing to each other, just beat the living hell out of each other. The WrestleMania match, Lesnar and Goldberg, is really underrated for what the match was supposed to be. There was literally like 3 different moves used, and 2 of them were the finishers. So everything else was like, you know, all it was just like another punch, basically. So, you know, all they did was spear, F5, F5. That's the way the match should be, and it makes more sense that way, for it to be short, 5-minute match, but hard-hitting, nonstop action. I think that's what you got to get here. You have 2 guys. First off, 2 guys that are probably the most legit guys in wrestling in terms of being legit, like actually whoop your ass outside of that ring, right? It's these scared. 2 guys, right? 2 guys you don't want to see in an alleyway. 2 guys you don't want to get pissed off at you. This makes the most sense for these 2 guys to just quickly, efficiently beat the living hell out of each other. And I think Lashley has to get the win here, and then you go to WrestleMania with this. You go away from it. Lashley does, because, you know, Lesnar's like, he only does one event and he disappears and comes back for another event. So the next time you bring him out is either maybe at the Rumble, him and Lashley run into each other in the Rumble match, or you just, you know, hot shot it to WrestleMania type of thing. But Lashley, I think Lashley's got to come out on top here.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think Lashley has to win too. And that would be, I think that's exactly what needs to happen, because it's one of those things, like you said, I feel like Crown Jewel is where like he does Crown Jewel and then he takes a break until the Rumble, and then he comes back, he does WrestleMania season, and then he takes a break again. So this is probably the last time we're going to see him until probably the Rumble. And I don't know about you and how you and everybody else feels, but I think this is really the most unpredictable Royal Rumble ever. Like, Cody could come back, Big E could come back, Randy could come back. We could see the Devil come out. Shit, 2023, a year early, MJF comes out. No, I mean, Punk could come out. I don't think it would, but, you know, I mean, there's just so many things that could happen where I think that would be great. And yeah, I mean, obviously we might expect it, but like if he comes out at like 25 and then Bobby comes out at like 27 and they eliminate each other. And then, then they have some random face-off at Elimination Chamber, because that's how it always should be. It should be Rumble, Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania.
Yes, it should. Because that makes the most sense that way, yeah.
Because it was just like, I remember growing up, and it was just one of those things where it was like the Elimination Chamber was in February. You knew that they had to win to go there, and it was just great. So I agree with you. Bobby needs to win, and I think this match will go like 8 minutes, maybe. But I don't think it goes any longer than that, because I don't know. I feel like there's going to be one match that is going to be like it's just going to be like they're going to either like play it off, or somebody's going to get hurt or something like that, because one match is going to go too long or something. It always happens, it seems like.
Yeah.
And I know that, so, but yeah, I'm going to take Bobby to win, and hopefully we don't see Brock until Royal Rumble.
Well, the interesting you said about Royal Rumble, right? So Royal Rumble is even more interesting this year because you already know more or less Lesnar's not going to be part of it. Lashley's probably not going to be part of the main event at WrestleMania by winning the Rumble. So it's interesting. It's like whoever wins it gets reigns, right? Unless they split those titles. So does that person is that the person that beats Reigns finally? You know what I mean? So that's what makes this Rumble even more unpredictable, because you're thinking to yourself, is Cody going to be ready to come back? Is this the time they give Rollins his shot to take down Reigns? Is he the guy? Do they give it to a dark horse, maybe a Riddle, something like that, who they think could be a guy that deserves to beat Reigns at WrestleMania? That's what makes it interesting. Or is it nothing of importance because he's going to continue his reign 3+ years?
Exactly. Or is it like one of the things too with like the other things is, could Seth come back and feud with Cody again? Could we see that?
Yes.
Like, I know I've seen them say that back. Like, do they want to, even though we've seen it so many times, it's like there's just so many different types of different things that could happen. And Triple H is trying to add 10 more men. He probably knows. He's like, I need 10 more people. He's like, I want to make this the biggest one. And I feel like it could work. I mean, the last time they did it in 2011, I feel like when they did that, I don't know do you remember that one in 2011?
Yeah, the one that versus the real one, yeah.
Yeah, I've watched it about 12, 13 times. I'm one of those, I'm weird. I like rewatching all the Royal Rumbles around January season, around January. And I just always remember, there just was Heath Slater. There was that moment when Hornswoggle and John Cena were just throwing people in and out. And I feel like they just didn't have as many people. But it's now, I feel like it could possibly work. Maybe it might be a little longer. But I think if there's so many surprises, nobody's going to feel like it's 40 people, because we're like, Big E's back, Randy's back, Cody's back, holy, you know what I mean? Our adrenaline's going to be
well, yeah, and it's a little bit easier nowadays because they have NXT. So they've done that before when they have the NXT pool that they bring to the Rumble. But now with Triple H at the helm, they can bring in even more guys from NXT to kind of fill the roster out. Because when you have one of those Rumbles, like either 40-man or even just a regular 30-man, if you don't have enough talent in terms of not just, not disparaging the guys in the ring, but just in terms of how over each person is, right? In terms of importance on the card. I always like to talk about the 95 Royal Rumble. It's one of the worst Royal Rumbles if you've ever watched it. It is absolutely horrible. 95.
I've never actually rewatched that one fully. I've seen
really bad.
Is it? I might have to go rewatch it.
95 and 96 is a little bit better because you have Diesel kind of and Shawn at the end of it. But this is the one where he skins the cat. Shawn comes back in. But in terms of the Rumble itself, there's so many bad gimmicks and just bad, guys in that ring, that it kills the Rumble and it kills the moment for Shawn at the end of it. 96 is kind of similar too. 94 is kind of similar like that too. It's that run of years where they didn't have enough guys that were really over at the time, so that hurt the Rumbles. You could get away with it now because you have so much talent to pull from that are relatively over.
Well, yeah, and that's the one thing, man. There's just so many people where I think 40 would be great. I mean, I know some people would. I mean, everybody's not going to like everything, but I think if there's a year to do it, I think it has to be this year. You know what I mean? Where I just feel like there's just so much, because then we got NXT Europe, we got all those other things coming up. Who knows? Hopefully they do a brand split. I mean, or a draft if they're going to keep the brand split. That is, or what are they going to do with all that?
If it even still exists, don't really know if it does, right?
I mean, it does a little bit, I guess, right? I mean,
I think it does when it's convenient for them, but
and then other times it doesn't. They need at least we don't have the wild card rule.
No,
the wild.
asinine rule. I was like, what the hell's the point of that thing?
I couldn't, like, they were trying. I'm sorry, but my favorite thing around the draft, or when they did the drafters, when they tried to act like it was the NFL executives drafting, like when like they drafted like Baker and all the Browns players went crazy, and when they draft, it's like, what are we doing here, people? Come on, we know the Fox executives don't care that much.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but you said the worst segment and the worst everything. Let's talk about a tag team match. You probably had the best segment. I don't know about you, man, but I was dying watching this segment on Friday between the Usos, the Bloodline, and everything. But the Usos and the Bloodline got a different opponent. They got the Brawling Brutes. They got Butch, Pete Dunne. We're not going to call him Butch. Pete Dunne and Ridge Holland are going up against the Usos for the Undisputed Tag Team Champions. And man, I like I said, I was dying during that. Yeah. I was laughing so hard during that segment. I just cannot believe that Sami Zayn is great. He's got to be probably the most over person on WWE, like television.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that once he turns babyface, it's going to be great. And did you see that they're kind of like keeping KO off TV now because they are doing so good with it that they want to keep him in the bloodline longer?
Yeah. Because like it seemed like they were going to head towards him turning on the bloodline or them turning on him and him joining with Kevin Owens to kind of go against the Usos, and that team being the team to take off the titles off the Usos.
Yeah, and man, I don't know. Do you think the Brawling Brutes have any shot at winning this?
No, none whatsoever. No. The whole bloodline is.
I love your reaction. That was great.
It's amazing because it felt like right now the bloodline shouldn't be as over as it is. It's as popular and as entertaining because it's been around so long, right? 2 straight years of it, right? 2.5 straight years, but it's gotten better, which is nuts. If you really think about it, 2.5 years later, it's gotten better. Now, really Sami Owens is the MVP right now of WWE. He's, second most over to like MJF if you compare the two companies, right?
Yeah.
But you can't sleep on Main Event Jay. Main Event Jay Uso, that's the man right there. I mean, he's playing the opposite, the antagonist to Sami Zayn, and I think he's just doing it so perfectly. The two together are great. The thing when they did where Sami brought up Waffle House, and then all of a sudden that's when Jay was like, yeah, they were all cool at that point when he brought up the Waffle House. That was great stuff. And the Usi stuff, everybody breaking character, couldn't hold, couldn't keep a straight face. I mean, that's fun. That's SNL, like, fun type stuff that you get right there.
And that's the stuff where it's like if everybody's able to feel looser and literally oosier.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
like, we all feel oosier with them too because we're there, like we're seeing it and we connect with that. Yeah, we all kind of like buy into it.
It feels like that's what I would do with my friends. And like sometimes that's what we want to see. We want to see that realness. Like, okay, yeah, maybe they do all hang out and talk to each other and mess with each other. And that's what it's all about. Like, yeah, we want to see the realness, but if you break character, it's okay. I'm sure, it's just great. So, yeah, I don't think the Brawling Brutes have any type of chance in this match, but I will give the Brawling Brutes, man. They are so over with Sheamus. They are doing great. Ridge Holland is, I know everything happened with Big E, but obviously he didn't do that.
Mistakes happen, yeah.
Yeah. And, people have done, said things and whatever, and it's just awful, but, everything is fine with that. But I think that they're definitely getting over it. With Butch now being represented a little bit more as Pete Dunne, the Bruiserweight, he's breaking people's fingers. I think that's definitely a lot more. And I've kind of gotten over the name change a little bit. And I feel like it's going to happen eventually where he's going to go back as Pete Dunne. Yeah. But I mean, it definitely with him dressing up and taking off the
thing he had. Yeah, I know what you're
talking about. I forget what the name of them are. You wear them at weddings.
Suspenders.
There we go. Suspenders. There we go. But yeah, I don't know, man. But I think this will definitely be a good tag team, man. I think this one will go like 10 minutes, maybe 12 minutes. I think it will be good.
I mean, I do think when he goes away from the Brawling Brutes is when he's gonna get a name change, right? Like when they eventually dissolve the group, that's when he'll just kind of maybe go away for a couple weeks and come back as Pete Dunne, I think.
Do you think that just throwing it out there, do you think he's one of those that maybe they break up before the end of the year and he takes off like 2 weeks and comes back in the Rumble as Pete Dunne? He has competed in the Rumble before as Pete Dunne. Yeah. So maybe. I was just thinking about that as like the last few days. And I was like, maybe. So I just want to throw it out there.
I mean, we're early November, so they have time to kind of
I know.
Brawling Brutes. No, but I'm saying like for the Brawling Brutes to kind of run their course is what I mean, right? Like, so they're at a point right now. Is like, what more can they do going forward? So they're not going to be tag team champions. It seems like so. No. Where do you go from there? Sheamus, I mean, he's finally getting his due because he's such an underrated guy and has been around for so long. You kind of
It's crazy. It's
that man is
crazy to
crazy.
think about how long he's been
yeah.
Man, it's crazy. Speaking of people being around, so I was watching Up Up Down Down before we started recording, and Mansoor is on there, and he was talking to Xavier Woods, and he said that he was watching Up Up Down Down when Xavier Woods was like Mansoor was in high school watching it when it first. I was just like, oh my god! I was like, we're getting like to that point where it's just like, oh my god, like the generations are just crazy. But yeah, I mean, it's great to see what Sheamus banger after banger, and he just got married. And you know how nice it is to be able to see like Cesaro hang out with Sheamus and like Drew McIntyre. Like, come on, like that's just so nice to see. Yes, they work for different companies, whatever, we all know, but it's just good to see. So yeah, I don't think the Brawling Brutes have a chance. I do like what they're doing. Can't wait to see what they do. But Usos still your undisputed tag team champion.
Yeah, Brawling Brutes right now, like they're running on borrowed time. They'll dissolve probably, somewhere in the near future maybe, but
yeah. I mean, it should be interesting to see how it happens, though.
It does, yeah. It will be interesting.
It's one of those where because I don't know. We'll have to wait.
I would love to see Pete Dunne versus Sheamus in an important match, maybe like that. That'd be fun.
There you go. I mean, hey, yeah. There you go. WWE, call him.
There you go.
So, but we've gotten to it. We've covered 7 matches, and Anthony, now it's time for the biggest main event in WWE history. It is the megastar. The YouTuber, the guy that has 1 million, billion, quadrillion subscribers, the host of Impulsive, Logan Paul, going up against the undisputed WWE Universal Champion, the head of the table, the man that puts food on everybody's table here and on WWE, Roman Reigns. Man, I never thought I'd see Logan Paul versus Roman Reigns on a WWE television pay-per-view.
At least not this soon.
Nope. And it's funny because I watched the Impulsive interview with him, and as soon as he did the ending, as soon as Roman walked out and he said what he said, I'm like, I was like, this was all a set. I'm like, you guys all suck. I just watched all this. I'm like, you guys all suck. I'm like, damn it. But I mean, how do you feel about this? Like, just all of it. Like, do you enjoying it? Do you think Logan's got that one knockout punch? Do you think we see it? Do you think we could see that? Like, do you think we could really see him knock him out and then get like a 2 count?
Okay, so I'll start with this. This match, I'm a fan of it. I am. I think it makes total sense for the venue you're doing it, for the event you're doing it. It makes total sense. This guy is money. I mean, he's taking on Floyd Mayweather, for God's sakes. You know what I mean? Like, think about that. Like, just think about that in a point of view. He took on Floyd Mayweather. You know what I mean? Like, that's nuts. And look at where he is now, right? He's only his 3rd match. They bring it up. Makes sense to bring that up because the match, if correctly booked, it should be booked in a manner where Reigns dominates the majority of the match, similar to how Lesnar's dominated AJ Styles, Finn Balor, Bryan Danielson. He's dominated them for majority of the match. When they get one little opening, one little lucky shot, and then they start taking advantage, get a couple false finishes, but then Lesnar regains control. This is the way it needs to be done. Reigns needs to dominate this man the entire match, and then there comes the lucky punch, and there you get a 2 count, right? You get the big 1, 2, and he kicks out, and then you get a little bit of offense from Logan Paul, but then Reigns comes right back and finishes the match and wins the match. Nobody thinks Logan Paul's going to win here. It would be ridiculous to have him win. It's his 3rd match ever. Even though the man is money, I still don't know what the hell his YouTube videos have ever been about. I've never seen any of them, but the guy's money, no matter where he goes.
Right. He's doing something
right. Right. So he is money. He brings eyeballs. He brings tons of different people to the spectacle of it. According to my guy Jonesy, he supposedly is going to come out with Jake Paul. So Jake Paul just beat Anderson Silva in a boxing match, right? He's going to be coming out with Jake Paul here. So just imagine that. The spectacle of it, it makes total sense. You got to give props to WWE for going along with this and pulling this off and making it work. Logan Paul, he is surprised us. He is, pleasantly surprised us. I've enjoyed the stuff he's done. He's taken it, seems to be taking it seriously. Guys like Bad Bunny too. The guys take it seriously, so it shows when their work. And Logan Paul's had solid matches in the first two matches he has. I don't see anything different here. It's just going to be a different match. Logan is going to have to work a lot on his selling. That's why I think he's been training a lot with Shawn Michaels. One of the best of all time in that realm. So he's gonna be in his ass kicked for majority of this match, and I think that's the way it needs to be done. If they have Logan go toe to toe with this guy for the whole match, then that's a problem.
Yeah, because that's the one thing that it's just like, you know what I mean, where it's just like we want to see it, but we all know that Logan's not going to win. Like, come on, because you know damn well if Logan wins, WWE Twitter, everybody's going to go berserk. It's going to be like, you just wasted Roman Reigns 900. Like, oh my God, it would.
Yeah.
But I still want to see him because I feel like this match will be the longest match out of the whole night. Do you feel that way too? Where do you feel, or do you feel like?
No, I think the Bianca and Bayley is probably the longest because of the stipulation behind it. But I think this might be like second or third longest, probably.
Because and that's the one thing where I would love to see some offense, where it's just one of those things where just I want to see an actual fight. But I mean, like, do you see Paul Heyman getting involved? Do you see the Usos getting involved? I mean, you say his brother's coming out, and shout out to Jonesy. We love Jonesy.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that I don't know, man. I feel like some type of shenanigans is gonna happen where it's like they're gonna the Paul brothers are gonna try to like steal the titles. I feel like.
Well, I think like if Jake is there, right? I think they're gonna have the bloodline kind of get involved with him. Most likely, it's gonna be Jay or Sammy getting involved with Jake directly, and then you see a little spot outside where he knocks one of them out, kind of thing, like that little fun haha thing. But yeah, I just think they're gonna have to work around ways to kind of have schmozzy ways for Logan to get his offense in, right? Because he can't go toe to toe with the guy because he's his third match ever. And you have a guy who's been champion for 900 days. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and he's faced what? Miz twice. What was it? Yeah, Miz twice. Or no, he faced
Damien. Tag team match, and then he had the Miz.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh my God, man! WrestleMania feels like it was like 12 months ago already. It's like ridiculous. It's like crazy. So yeah, but yeah, I think Roman's gonna win. I feel like this was, like you said when we started it, money grab. And there's people like, I will say it, and I've said it almost every live stream I've done, and when I talk about it, my little cousin is literally watching this pay-per-view because of Logan Paul. He does not know anybody else that's on the card. He knows he knows AJ Styles because AJ Styles is his other favorite. But he does not know anybody else. And I was talking to a few of his friends. He goes that he's facing that Roman guy. And I'm like, what? I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, and that's the thing, but that's what they want. They want people to tune in, and that's what Logan's gonna bring. And that's what it's all about with Logan. They're gonna see Logan fight. He's done good in his few matches. He's going to do good in this one. He's been working, like you said, Shawn Michaels. He's putting in the work, and that's the thing. They've even said it, the superstars. You put in the work, and you prove that you want to show and you want to
get respect right there.
Yeah. And I mean, you've even like there's some YouTubers that have been like, there's one of the YouTubers, Chris Danger, that's out there training with like Breeze and Austin Creed and Adam Cole and stuff. It's like having the respect of those guys is one of those things that is probably like, and especially Logan Paul has been growing up watching it, like Bad Bunny that said he was like watching it and doing the Hardy Boy stuff. Like that's like the best feeling in the world. And that's what it's all going to be about for at least Logan Paul, because he's going to go back to impulsive. We'll see him at the Royal Rumble. We'll see it. You know what I mean? Because that's the other thing. Like Brock, I feel like we ain't going to see Logan until Royal Rumble.
No, he's not full time.
He ain't going to be part of War Games. He ain't going to be part of, December, because that's going to be, and it's one of those things where that's what, and that, So I think Roman's going to win. We're going to end. We might end Crown Jewel we'll end Crown Jewel with Roman. But like you said earlier, we might see Bray Wyatt end the show completely.
Yeah.
So Roman and Logan, I feel obviously will be the main event and we'll end the show. But that is everything that is going to happen, Anthony, at Extreme Rules. I don't even know what pay-per-view we're talking about anymore. Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia on Saturday. Man, I appreciate you coming and hanging out.
Yeah, of course.
Doing everything. I have a bunch of comments if you want to stay and hang out for a little bit longer and go through the comments with me for a couple minutes, and then I'll let you go. I know football's starting. I appreciate everybody that's been here the whole time listening to everything me and Anthony has to say. I appreciate all you guys. So let's get into the chat. I have a lot of people asking me where I was. I guess I was late. Well, sorry, guys. But we'll start it off with our man Steve, because Steve's got a good one. He says, talk about a dream team. Looking forward to the stream. Hope you're both keeping it well. Rated Tino. What do you think? Instead of rated RKO, rated...
I mean, be honest with you, that's the team that can take out the Usos right there. That's the team that can take out the Usos.
Go. Let's do it. We'll team up. WrestleMania. We'll be like Nicholas. We'll be in the crowd.
There you go. Yes, we'll be just like Nicholas.
Do it. Hassan says, who's this? This is Hassan. This is Anthony, rated R for Rasslin. I will make sure to put his link in the description, everybody, after the stream, so then you guys can all go check him out, subscribe, go follow everything. He's live every Sunday, all the time. Him and Jonesy, you do all the great stuff that you do. So that's who he is, Hassan.
Thank you.
What's up, Jordan? How you doing? Bayley Damage Control winning the belts. Man, I have a few people in here that come in here and they're like in love with like Damage Control. I'm like, we need to like slow it down, like relax. Like they don't know you. Steve says Damage Control has lost matches at key moments, which has hurt them. Bayley winning the gold is a must on the show. All three winning the gold would get group back on track. Do you agree?
Yes, I definitely agree. Like I said, the group has kind of fallen off a little bit post Extreme Rules, right? I think that was like the kind of thing that kind of brought the group down. This is a way to get them back up there and get them legitimate legitimate enough to be in that War Games match.
Yeah, and that's the one thing where it's like I just feel like with like Damage Control, like that. I feel like the biggest thing too was they started so hot coming out of SummerSlam. That was like when they started that out. When you heard Bayley's music, then you heard was it EO that came out, and then Dakota came. It was like people were just like going like bananas. It was like that one South Park meme of Randy having a good old time. It was like everybody was going nuts, and it was just like, you know what I mean? Where it was just like, and I feel like that they just expected so much that once it didn't happen, that it was like, but I feel like if they could just build it back up, win the titles, and go from there, it will be okay. So yeah, Steve, I agree, man. It needs to happen.
Well, because one of the things they had going for them too, mostly is because they came back at that time where, Triple H was kind of like running the show at that time, right? So it felt like the Triple H era. So that even hyped them up even more when they came back. Because it was like they got released, they got brought back. So that's kind of what it was.
Yeah, and that's the what they just, man. I don't know. So hopefully they do, and hopefully they fix it right. Jordan says Logan is not taking the belts. Jordan, come on now, man. We need to like stop with this. Jordan comes in there all the time. It's like says all. I'm like, stop, man. Like, come on. With Ronda and Shayna, we didn't even talk about Ronda and Shayna.
That is true.
Seemingly aligning on SmackDown. Do you believe they will go for what do you think about that? Do you think that is a good point? Do you think that maybe if Alexa and Asuka win, do you think that's because we see them go after the titles and they want to build Ronda and Shayna instead? But then Shayna still has a SmackDown Women's title. So that's, but that's the one thing. I didn't even think about that.
I mean, it's a team that like we've known that makes sense for them to be together, right? Because they have the 4 horsewomen thing going on, the MMA thing. But it's like the team's too damn dominant. Like, how the hell do you beat Ronda and Shayna? You know what I mean? If both book correctly, how do you beat both of them? That's a tough ask.
Yeah. I feel like it's gonna happen though, and I'm just happy they were finally shown on TV together. I feel like it should have been like it was far overdue that they should have been shown on TV. I mean, man, how did you feel before we get into the next thing real quick? How did you feel about the opening investigation of the Johnny Gargano doing the whole reenactments, the Dexter Loomis stuff? Do you like the storyline with all that? And are you happy we at least got some answers?
Well, the answers part, yes. So the whole beginning part of it was kind of like, it was just long to get through. Dexter kept doing stuff to this over and over again. Johnny Gargano's kind of throwing some life into the storyline, kind of made it a little bit more interesting because it was getting to the point where I was like, just get this thing over with already. But at least Gargano's giving it something.
That was great, man. I couldn't figure out who some of them were, and I had to go back and like watch them. Then he did like Indy, he did all. I was like, that's great. I was like, that's so funny. I wonder when, and we didn't even talk about the women's Royal Rumble. The women's Royal Rumble is another one too, with all like the women. We could see Roxanne, we could see Indy, we could see. I mean, that's
a lot of them, yeah.
There's so many, man. I love the Royal Rumble. They could have like 5. They could just do 3 Royal Rumbles a year. That would be great. So the next, wrong one. Tegan Knox, Chris says Tegan Knox returns, cost Bianca Belair the Raw Women's Champion against Bayley, and joins Damage Control. Did you say Tegan Knox joining Damage Control earlier?
No, I said what do you call it? Maybe Beth Phoenix. No, I'm sorry, Rhea Ripley. Yeah, maybe joining her just for the purposes of the War Games. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what do you think about Tegan joining Damage Control?
It would make sense, right? Because they have that history between Tegan and Dakota, so it does make sense. It does. But then who does Bianca? Let's say for the War, because all roads from coming out of this lead the War Games. So you're going into this event thinking, what are they going to be the War Games teams, right? That's that's everybody's question.
We don't, like you said earlier, we don't know if it's 4-on-4 or 5-on-5.
Yeah, exactly.
3 teams. Like they could literally, if they wanted to, we can make all the whole pay-per-view War Games. We get Imperium versus flipping Legato versus this. Like, we could do all types of different things.
Yep.
I mean, I feel like that's how, like, these things, pay-per-views, that's how you should do. Keep put the cage down one time and then keep it down and just do
do a bunch of matches inside the cage. Yeah.
I mean, shit. That's what they should have done. Hell in the Cell, all these pay-per-views. Now they got to get rid of them all. So I like that though. I'm happy they're getting rid of them. I'd rather have the matches at like an Armageddon and have like the Hell in the Cell.
I feel more special that way.
Yeah, they do, man. I remember when some of them, like, they were just like, I was like, oh my god, great. And then I feel like the thing is just they just brought down like the value of the matches, where it was just like we expected it, like, you know, like when they used to say Hell in the Cell, we were like, oh my god, oh crap. So Jordan says Brock's a draw. Do you think Brock and Bobby can end in a draw?
No.
Say I don't.
No way in hell.
He said no way in hell. Chris says OC wins and Raquel Rodriguez helps with the rear. I didn't even, maybe Raquel, because they do have the
that's somebody. I mean, it is,
but it's one of those things I can't deal with the smile.
Yes, that's the problem.
But so thank you.
I totally agree.
I just can't do, like, we need the Rhea Ripley we need the Raquel that was throwing Rhea through doors and shit and beating her ass in NXT. Not smiley Raquel.
Yeah, way too much smiling. Yeah,
bro, it's like I need to, like, oh my god. Damage Control wins all the gold. Chris, yes sir. Tino, hate the idea of Logan Paul champion. Yes, we don't want Logan Paul as champion.
No, definitely not.
No, not at all. Random fantasy book. We gotta love Steve in his fantasy book. What if Karl Anderson was taken out of the match before the show, secretly clearing him to compete in New Japan? Edge replaces him with Best and even in up versus Rhea. Judgment Day. What do you think? Because
this happens like the same day or something like that, or when they went over there. Like,
because I think Karl Anderson was having a thing and they didn't know if he was going to do it. Just like, I don't know if you remember, but I guess Karrion Kross was supposed to compete at some indie event, but then he made his debut on SmackDown and he wasn't able to.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. So I wonder if that's maybe a way for they can do that, so then Karl can't. I mean, Steve, you could be right, man. Who knows?
It could possibly be because you heard the news that it's gonna be Shinsuke versus Shinsuke's to take on Muta at the Noah event,
that's
right?
Great.
So that's gonna happen. So this could be sound that same vein where they have a way to get Karl Anderson out to, you know, do the Never Open Championship that he has, whatever champion, you know, whatever name of the championship that it is, and then you have Edge replace and Beth evens up. It makes sense. Does make total sense. It really does. And this, you know, again, I keep going back to War Games. This could lead to War Games too, depending on who's in the cage. Yeah,
and I feel like we will know by the end of Monday kind of where it's all leading to.
Yeah,
at least we should, or maybe because again, it is 3 weeks away. I need to look at my calendar.
Man, I think more or less, something like that. Yeah,
anymore, something like just make sure because 3 weeks from Saturday. So, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, and that's the one thing that sucks about having these Crown Jewel pay-per-views. I hate that they only have 3 weeks to build.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, like, I wish we had a month. Like, where was you know what I mean? And I trust Triple H will be able to do it, but, like, man, the build that they had in 2019 was great. Like, I think that was, like, before, you know, obviously everything. But even before that, like, they didn't even, like, I feel like they kind of, like, fell away from Survivor Series for a long time. It was, like, they just put, like, random teams together, random 5-on-5. Like, they wouldn't even announce the team or have qualifying matches. So it would be really interesting. Yeah, I just cannot wait to see. But, Steve, yeah, that would be interesting because it would all make sense. It would all, like, you know, and especially if, you know, they all love having surprises. And Edge is another name like I don't want to compare him to Goldberg, but like another name like those older guys that like the Brothers of Destruction, DX, where Edge comes out, they're like, oh my god, the Rated R superstar.
Yeah, they get real excited for it.
Yeah. So I know I keep getting real excited myself. I try to. So Steve said, never gonna have. Hey, Steve, it could, man. Don't say that, man. I've heard so many things that people have said, like even like you guys have said. Like I listen to you guys every morning on Sundays before I go live for my football show, and there's some things I've heard you guys say that has come true. So hey, you never know.
You never know. Yeah, you never know.
At like WWE, like you just don't know. Judgment Day wins. Maybe. I mean, we'll see. I don't know.
Could possibly, yeah.
I mean, well, man, that's the one thing I like, where it's just one of those things you don't know who's gonna win. Like it's one like obviously Logan Paul and Roman you can kind of predict, but it's not as predictable. And that was the one thing for a long time. We could watch these pay-per-views, and me and my friend were already telling you who won when the match didn't even started. Or we would be predicting commercial breaks when it would be like, come on. So that's the one thing where you don't know. We think we know, but we don't know. And you can't put your phone down too, man. I can't tell you how many times I missed the Johnny Gargano debut. I missed the Candice LeRae debut because my ass was looking at my phone. I'm like, I can't put my phone down no more.
Yeah.
I'm like, my friend texted me. He goes, Gargano's back, and I look up and he's already in the ring. I'm like, damn. I'm like, I'm stupid. So Tracy, what's up, Tracy? Thanks for coming and hanging out. Tracy, a big AJ Styles fan, so whatever AJ does, she wants. You know, OC all the way. Yep, Tracy, I know.
Love to see it.
We heard rumors of Raquel with OC again. She is a beast, so maybe appreciate it, Tracy. Thank you. Love you too. Get all the love, I guess. Sadly, I will have to watch it on Sunday as I'm leaving for a big wheeler trip. Have fun. Enjoy your trip. And yeah, I mean, that's the one thing with it being on like a Saturday afternoon. There's a lot of people. It's one of those things where, but I mean, again, I feel like it's all about the money. So, I feel, what is this, the third, fourth year now? So they got like 6 years left on this deal? Something like that.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
So we got Omos winning. Omos. Oh, God, please, no. Drew McIntyre winning. Okay, well, Drew McIntyre.
Yeah. I agree.
I quit match. We got an I quit match.
I think he means I quit match for like the third match. So if they push it to like Survivor Series,
yeah, that's right. We were talking. That's right. Yeah. We were thinking about the third matches. Yeah, I mean, last man standing wouldn't be a bad one because then it would be like who would be, But it's one of those things again. Like I just don't know. Are they like? It's just I don't know. Like I really don't because it's just. I don't know, man. It's So
it's tough, yeah, but it has to be something big. Like it has to be something bigger than a strap match and a steel cage.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing where it's like I feel like the steel cage could have been the third match.
Yeah,
like they could have put something in the middle where maybe they did a singles match, and then they did the strap match, and then they did, you know what I mean? But it was like they started with the strap match, and it didn't work out. They could have picked a million different shit. Bring the wheel from Halloween Havoc. I would have. Put the casket match. They should have had that casket match with Drew and Kross instead of Apollo and Grayson. I mean, So at Money in the Bank, Money in the Bank 2021 was supposed to be Bayley versus Bianca for the SmackDown Women's Champion. I quit match. Okay, so it was an I quit match. But I mean, kind of. I'm still happy because I remember when that happened, man, and it was like, isn't it crazy? I don't know if you feel this way. Do you feel like it's crazy? Like sometimes these people get injured and then they come back. And then it's like they're back for a while, and it's like, damn, they were gone for that period of time. Like I feel like
you don't realize how long they were gone.
Yeah, like Bayley's been back for a little bit now, and it's like, was she really gone for that long? Yes, like, damn. Yeah. And it's just like shit. Like she's back, and it's just like but again, like we obviously like missed her, and like it makes us grow fonder of them. And I know obviously people were upset and that she didn't debut when she did, but I mean, obviously, look, hopefully she wins, and hopefully get back on track. Chris says Brock Lesnar wins. Brock Lesnar, I mean, man, I just don't. I think if Brock Lesnar wins, there's no point because then we don't see him to Royal Rumble, and that at least Bobby will be around every week, and that's the thing with all these people. At least I guess Roman's been showing up a little bit more, but I still think that they need to split up the titles. Like they need to give the titles to, I don't know who, I don't know how they would do it, but I think it needs to happen.
Yeah, they gotta split those things up soon.
Chris says CM Punk going to Impact.
Oh man!
Oh God!
They can't afford him.
Man, I can't believe Colt Cabana showed up last night. I was like, I had to look it up. I'm like, wait, that's the guy that got into the fight, right? And then I was looking at all the memes. I'm like, yup. Usos retained because Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens take the tag titles. I think that's a main event. I think that's a WrestleMania match. The Usos, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn. And I think that would be a great way to wrap up the full Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, and Sami Zayn, where Jay, you know what I mean? Where this is where it ends. And I think that would be great because I think having that moment is everybody knows how big of friends that they are.
No, it makes sense. That match has to happen at WrestleMania though. Has to.
So we got Jeff in the middle. What's up, Jeff? Thanks for coming and hanging out. He says he wants to join me on his show. Maybe Jeff, come and hang out. Hopefully Anthony will tell people I did a good job.
Yes, you did, man.
we don't have too many comments left, so we're almost done. I appreciate you coming.
Yeah, of course, brother.
The whole episode. We got Chris. Logan Paul has a good showing, but Roman Reigns wins. Yes, sir.
That's what we hope for.
How do you think Roman wins? How do you think he wins? Superman punch spear, distraction spear. How do you think? What's the finish?
It's gonna be a spear. No, actually, I think he should choke him out. Can't make him tap, right? Like at that point, maybe, or the spear. I think most likely they'll go with the spear, right? The spear. Let's say he goes for a punch, a knockout punch, misses, bounce off the rope, spear.
I mean, choking him out would make sense because then you just choke his ass out back to in his podcast, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Have him go back, you know, because again, like that's the thing. Like with this show, we're not gonna see these guys. And they got did you see they're doing another press conference?
For real? For this match?
Yeah, for like this, I think it's tomorrow at like 10 o'clock. It might even,
that's the luxury of having Logan Paul. You can kind of go the boxing UFC route with the press conference.
Yeah. So, and that's the one thing where I really enjoy it. I like to see it, but it's one of those things where like after this whole thing is over, we're just not going to see him. So there just needs to be. So we got, what about, I've heard rumors about this. Did you hear rumors about Triple H possibly wanting to bring back Evolution for the women's?
I've heard that they wanted to bring it back, but I just heard it didn't make enough, it wasn't enough like viewership for them to like warrant it to come back.
Yeah, and that was the one thing. Like I remember watching it, but I feel like when they did it, I feel like the wrestling was popular, but I feel like it wasn't like I feel like if they did it like this year, it would maybe like next year. I feel like it would have been like because they have enough like women. I feel like when they did it, they brought in a lot of like they don't
older wrestlers. Stuff
and like that was even like with the Royal Rumble. We talked about the Royal Rumbles, but I feel like with the women's, the first one they brought in a bunch of legends. The second one they brought in more, or like they brought in like less legends. They brought in more NXT superstars. They just feel like they're like obviously as the years went on, they've been able to do it more. But that's the thing where it's like if they just continue to do it, I feel like they need to like use the pay-per-view to elevate women instead of just having like Candice Michelle come back or having Kelly come back. As much as I love seeing Kelly and she was my childhood crush or my 13-year-old dream, whatever. But I just think that it would be better with so I don't know about all that, but we'll have to see. Because Triple H, again, he knows what he's doing. So
he knows what he's doing. But I don't think they should do the solo pay-per-view like that again. Just I think maybe have a pay-per-view more of like where the ratio is different. You have more women's matches than men's matches type of thing. Maybe you go that route. Yeah. Because you still want to have your big money drawers on the card.
Well, exactly. And that's the one thing where it's just like, and it just, I don't know if you see Trish Stratus is going to be in this Christmas movie this Christmas. She apparently filmed some Christmas movie or whatever.
Oh, okay.
I want to see hers come back soon. I mean, I don't know. She's one of those where I think that she could still come back. And I know she had the retirement match with like Charlotte, but she's one of those that I think could still.
Definitely is, yeah.
Jeff says, read my question. Jeff, what's your question, man? It's what superstar will be coming back? In what? Where? Do I think what superstars are coming back in Crown Jewel or the Royal Rumble? That's the important thing.
Yeah.
So I've caught up on all the questions. So Jeff, you want to let me know if anybody else has any other questions before we let Anthony go so we get ready to watch Thursday Night Football?
Yes, sir.
For the rest of his Thursday. While we wait, I'll wait a couple more minutes. If somebody wants to drop a question, I've got 2 questions for you. Who do you got winning the World Series?
I'm a Mets fan, so I do not want to see the Phillies win. So I'm picking Houston. I mean, because last year I saw, 2019 I had to see the Nationals win. Then last year I had to see the Braves win.
Damn.
Now the Phillies.
True. I didn't.
There's L's being dropped.
That didn't all comprehend. Until right now.
It's tough being a Mets fan. It is really, really tough, especially winning 101 games, getting eliminated in the wild card.
That's why you just never know. Like I've always said it, man. I'll have to have you on like a wrestling show or a football or baseball show. We can talk about all that.
Yeah, man.
He says, so do what we SmackDown or Raw? Do you see any people coming back on SmackDown or Raw the upcoming week?
I hope not, because I think they've brought back enough people that I don't want them to go down the AEW route where they have like a million dudes and girls on the roster and people disappear for months on end because they have.
I feel like it's GM mode. Have you played the new GM mode on 2K? I feel like it's one of those where it's like they are doing it, and then as soon as all the receipts are due, then they got to release them all. Like I was watching Xavier Woods and Tyler Breeze play, and Austin had like 8 guys he had to pay, and it was like, damn. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to see any more returns. I think that they're fine where they are. I think you wait until do the returns now until more of the draft if we're gonna get and see that.
Yeah, it makes more sense. Then.
So Ryan says, I'm only watching Crown Jewel for Bray Wyatt. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of people with that.
Yeah.
But Anthony, we've caught up on all the chat and everything. Nobody else wants to say nothing, but we've been here for an hour and a half. So I appreciate you coming here on Tino's Time, taking it over, joining me, talking with me about all the things that are going to go down. There was a lot that we covered. So I appreciate you, man, coming and hanging out here on Tino's Time, doing all that. Is there anything before you go you want to tell everybody where to follow you, what you got going on, what you got going on weekly? Let everybody know where to find Anthony and Rated R for Wrestling.
Yeah, Rated R for Rasslin, the YouTube channel. Just check it out, Rated R for Rasslin on YouTube. There's a Twitter, stuff like that. I don't really post much stuff there, but the YouTube, I do the weekly shows, Rasslin Report with Jonesy Chats Wrestling for the most part. He's my main guy. If he ever doesn't make it, like last week, I have somebody else stand in for him. I have those. I do topical videos here and there. I have a series of Attitude Era moments that went too far. I have other videos that I'm covering different stuff. I have the downfall of CM Punk. I have so many things about Tony Khan and CM Punk as well. A lot of topical videos, you guys can go check out in there in the back catalog, all that stuff that WWE hasn't blocked yet because they're a pain in the ass when it comes to copyright stuff.
Oh man, the copyright issues are a pain in there.
Yeah,
they people don't understand that, man. They don't. There's so many things I wish I could put on my channel that I can't, and they don't understand. Like there's a lot of things where
Yeah, I have videos out there. So I have the best and the worst of War Games. I have the best and the worst of Royal Rumble. You check those videos out. Just check me out on YouTube. I got a lot more stuff coming out in the future. A couple interesting videos there, video game based with AW Fight Forever, WWE 2K22, all that stuff, and some other stuff I'm working on. So catch me Rated R for Rasslin on YouTube.
All right, well. Thank you, Anthony, for coming out, hanging out with Tino's Time. Like I said, I will make sure to put your description. If you want to send me your link so I could just put it and copy and paste it so I got the right one, so that everybody can go follow and subscribe to you real easily. But again, one last time, thank you, Anthony, for coming on. Hopefully you enjoy your Thursday. Talk to you soon. I'll come and hang out with you and Jonesy on Sunday. Enjoy Crown Jewel. I'll talk to you a little later. Just thank you again, man. I appreciate it. Have a good Thursday.
Tino, brother, I appreciate you having me on, man. It was a good time.
See you.
See you.
Well, everybody, I want to thank everybody that came and hung out with Tino and Anthony, Rated R for Rasslin Report. Everybody, go check him out. And like I said, I'll make sure to put his description in the comments below and in the description. I mean, not the comments, the description, I mean. So make sure to go follow him, guys. Appreciate all of you guys coming and hanging out. You guys know, if you guys do and you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. Come and hang out with your boy Tino, as we are always live. And since everybody is still here, everybody hanging out still, let's go over what we got coming out the rest of this week here on Tino's Time. We got 15 people in the stream. Thank you guys all so much coming and hanging out all episode long. But tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, come and hang out with your boy Tino as we see all the new items that he adds to his collection. It's episode number 21, guys. We got a lot of cool stuff. I can't wait to show you guys. 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow. It's going to be a good time. Then Friday night, tomorrow night that is, we're watching the last SmackDown until Crown Jewel. It is already taped, as I mentioned earlier. So come and hang out. Let's watch Rey Mysterio and Gunther come in, and let's see if he wins the Intercontinental title. Probably not, but I would still think that it will be a good match. We got Liv Morgan and Sonya Deville in a no DQ match. What is Wyndham, or what is Bray Wyatt? What is Wyndham? What does Uncle Howdy have to say? We're going to see LA Knight. We're going to see the Usos and so much more. So tomorrow night, come and hang out with your boy Tino, as we got a doubleheader here on Tino's Time. And then Saturday, it's time to watch the matches that me and Anthony just covered, and come and hang out at noon Central Standard Time, 11:30, depending on what time it goes live. The pre-show goes live. I will be going live 30 minutes before the show goes live, guys. So come and hang out with your boy Tino. Should be 11:30. So everybody, we'll be live Saturday morning. So come and hang out with your boy Tino as we watch all the matches that are going to go down at Crown Jewel. Can Logan Paul win? Can Bayley win? Will Damage Control become the new tag team champions? Will Omos defeat Braun Strowman? What is Wyndham going to have to say, guys? There's 8 matches. There's a lot of stuff that's going to go down. So Saturday afternoon, Saturday morning, and Saturday night in the UK, guys, come and hang out with your boy Tino. We still have a big week here on Tino's Time. I appreciate everybody that's joined me this whole episode. I know I've kind of rambled on a little bit, but it's okay. It's Thursday night, guys. We got Thursday night football. It's the Eagles. It's the Texans. It's my man Jadis's Eagles. They trying to go 8-0. So everybody, go get some food. Go get your drinks. Enjoy some Thursday night football. And until tomorrow night, or tomorrow afternoon, I should say, where we look at the collection and then we watch from Friday Night SmackDown. Have a good night, everybody. Have a good night. Oh my God. Tino messed that up, everybody. Let's redo that. Remember, guys, to go follow all the social medias. Remember Tino's Time 1996 on Twitter and TikTok, on Instagram and Facebook. Tino's Time Wrestling on Instagram and Facebook. Tino's Time on SoundCloud and Spotify. Enjoy your Thursday, guys. Go watch some football. Have a good time and have a good night. And until tomorrow afternoon, where we see the collection, this is your boy Tino signing out. I messed that way up so bad. Love you guys.